An iconic Australian grey bundle of fur is often the go-to for all tourists, but seeing them in their natural habitat is a lot harder than it used to be. So what is really happening to our iconic marsupial? Are they really on the verge of extinction? In our backyard, the famous herbivore is often taken for granted. The koala, or scientifically known as Phascosteros cinereus, is a nocturnal creature that populates mostly in southeast Queensland. Suited to an arboreal lifestyle, the koala enjoys isolation in the tops of eucalyptus trees, where contact with any other species is kept at a minimum, as it should be. This, however, has changed. As in the past few decades, southeast Queensland has witnessed a decline of almost 80% in koala numbers, dropping the koala status to a nationally recognised vulnerable state, with a predicted extinction in only the next few years. So, why should the Australian government make an effort to help save our furry friends? The answer lies in the future ahead. The extinction of the koala would lead to impacts affecting Australia socially, environmentally, and economically.
Koalas are endemic to Australia. They are found on the eastern side of Australia in Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria and Southern Australia. The Australia Koala Foundation estimates that there are less than 100,000 koalas left in the wild, possibly as few as 43,000. They do not live in the rainforest or desert but prefer open forests and woodlands with reliable rainfall. Koalas live in what's called their home range. These home ranges overlap with other koalas' home ranges. Koalas use certain trees for certain things. They use in their home range for shelter, food, social activities and mating. Male koalas are highly territorial and fight any other koala that comes into their home range.
As you already know, koalas in Queensland, New South Wales and the Australian Capital Territory are listed as vulnerable under the Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Act of 1999. This is to ensure the protection of the species and give koalas the best chance of survival. But the question is, why are koalas listed as vulnerable? Currently, koalas all across Australia are facing numerous threats. This includes habitat loss from land clearing, motor vehicle accidents, cat and dog attacks, bushfires, disease, dieback, and a few other threats. However, the main threat to koalas is habitat loss, as it leads to all the previously mentioned threats and a few more, including increased disturbance by humans, effects of garden pesticides getting into waterways, increased competition for food and territory because of the overcrowding, and a lot of increased stress. So, you may be thinking, why is habitat loss the main threat to koalas? Well, since European settlement, approximately 80% of Australian eucalyptus forests have been lost. Of the remaining 20% of eucalyptus forest, almost none of it is protected, as it occurs mostly on privately owned land. This means that people are free to cut it down whenever they choose. Unfortunately, this eucalyptus forest is where the majority of koalas live. The clearing of this forest for the expansion of human settlement for agriculture, housing, mining, forestry, factories or roads is becoming a major threat to koalas in the wild. The reason why most of the clearing has occurred in these forests is because they have fertile soil. Subsequently, this koala habitat overlaps with these areas of land clearing. It is understandable that land needs to be cleared, as in southeast Queensland alone, the human population is increasing by 1,000 people per week. However, we should try to put these developments in places where koalas and other wildlife are not already living. As, when koala habitat areas become smaller and more fragmented, koalas are likely to move through developed areas where many other threats may occur. Currently, there are options available to help koalas. There are wildlife helplines like the RSPCA and EHB Koala Helpline. Hospitals and rehabilitation centres are available to look after koalas as well. Koala ambulances in southeast Queensland are also there to help koalas. Planning instruments, policies and guidelines are currently available to assist koalas and look after their habitat. But is this enough?
Habitat loss is majorly affecting koalas in the wild. It is one of the main contributing factors to the declining numbers of koalas. An alternative solution would be to protect the remnant koala habitat from urban development. The $12.1 million grant could be used for this. Using the grant for the solution mentioned would effectively and efficiently protect koala populations and change their vulnerability.
This strategy would have significant environmental factors, as it would protect other species, as koalas are a flagship species, and will deter the results of land clearing. The results of land clearing include injury or death from traffic, injury or death from dogs and cats, effects of garden pesticides getting into waterways, and increased competition for food and territory because of overcrowding. Protecting the remnant habitat of koalas would stop the current fragmentation of eucalyptus forest. It is important to look after koala habitat, as koalas increase biodiversity in our world. The koala, an iconic Australian animal, as you can now see, is at great risk from a number of threats which are affecting the wild population. If action is not taken now to protect koalas, they could become extinct in the near future. Everyone has a responsibility to protect our cute and cuddly friends. With the implementation of the $12.1 million grant and our chosen strategy to protect remnant koala habitat from urban development, koalas will have an ensured future in the wild. So
wake up, Australia!
Look around. It is only then that you will see that koalas must be saved, for their future is at risk.